Next up at UFC Vegas 64, we have Johnny Munoz Jr., former Lock of the Week shame, taking on Liudvik Sholinian. Johnny Munoz Jr., 11-2 overall, was just 11-1 pretty recently. He is 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off the very quick knockout from Tony Gravely.
I mean, let me just interject. That was the most... Johnny Munoz Jr. right now goes down as the most embarrassing Lock of the Week loss of all time. That was in my stretch of 4 straight Lock of the Week losses. Just dance around, and literally the Bruce Lee 1-inch punch. Tony Gravely hit him from here to here. Lights out. I mean, I've never seen someone get knocked out that fast with such a short shot. Incredible. That was the worst Lock of the Week of all time. Johnny Munoz Jr., I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you. So,
from a wrestler,
I'm a little bit biased. I am a little bit biased, but go ahead.
Well, he's taking on Liudvik Sholinian, who's 9-2 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming back after a year away. Johnny Munoz bouncing back after a very quick knockout to be, more than a 2-1 favorite is pretty interesting. I do think Johnny wins. I think he's the more dangerous fighter because of his BJJ, because of how hard he throws his punches. I think it's still a close fight. Liudvik could come forward. He can work takedowns. Even if he doesn't get the first few, he's just going to continue shooting, continue working until he eventually gets one. And if he gets a takedown, I'm talking about Liudvik here, if he gets a takedown, that dude is like skin. He is hard to shake. So I think Johnny wins. He has solid takedown volume. He's got solid power in his hands. I think Johnny wins this fight. I see people in the live chat talking about he's a lock. Absolutely not is Johnny Munoz a lock. Absolutely not. I think he wins because he's the more dangerous of the two. But Liudvik can get a takedown and just ride that out. So, potentially a decent underdog play there. What do you think, Chicky boy?
Yeah, I am a little bit biased, but I think it really is a real thing that for forever right now is a red flag for Johnny Munoz Jr. To get knocked out on a shot like that. That is a huge red flag from the rest of his fights. I mean, I can't trust him. I don't know if anyone else wants to trust him. I can't trust that chin until I see it again and see him take a shot because that was so wild. How little or light of shot that was to drop him. And I will say, you mentioned the year layoff for Liudvik. I would encourage everyone. I do the deep dives on the Instagrams. I do it for guys and girls. I don't discriminate. I did it for Liudvik. Look at his last 2 posts. He does not look like that anymore. He does not. And there is a thing when people show physical transformations. One of the big things we go back to, or what I go back to, is Brian Battle. Right? Brian Battle completely changed and looked like a completely new person. Liudvik on his Instagram does not look like that. He looks like a completely new person. Like he spent the last year working on his game because that last fight, I think he was a little bit embarrassed in that fight. He's supposed to be this Ukrainian national wrestler. He came into the fight saying nobody can take me down, and then all of a sudden he was getting taken down left and right. I don't know if Johnny Munoz Jr. is going to be able to get those takedowns. A lot of his takedowns are timed off of over-aggression in striking, and I don't think Liudvik's that type of dude. And Johnny Munoz Jr. in like open mat takedowns against a national champion wrestler, whatever his credentials are, I don't think he's going to be able to get him. If it does go to the ground, Johnny Munoz Jr. very, very live. I mean, he is one of those super, super dangerous guys you could not go to the ground with. But I think Liudvik can keep this on the feet. And from what I've seen on his Instagram, it looks like he's improving his striking. I mean, I know it's just hit and miss. It's just with your coach. You're not against somebody, but his hands look fast. They look crisp. Throwing some kicks in there. And physically, he looks like a completely different person. So I am a little bit biased because I do have crazy hate for that son of a bitch, Johnny Munoz Jr. for ruining my Lock of the Week. But I'm going with Liudvik here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with that. I think Munoz wins because of everything I mentioned before. But I'm not going to argue with a Liudvik pick here at all. $8,700.
Okay.
While I think he wins, $8,700 means he's getting a submission, right? It's not quite the 9,000 range, but it's close. And Liudvik is solid. He's not just necessarily going to quickly get submitted. And if he gets his own takedowns, he's riding that out. So I'm definitely not going to play him in DraftKings. What were you going to say?
Yeah, and the reason Johnny Munoz Jr. was Lock of the Week against Tony Gravely was because if it goes to the ground, he should dominate. And I thought, oh, well, Tony Gravely is one guy that really wants to get the fight to the ground, so that's going to be easy for Johnny Munoz Jr. Even off his back, he can do some weird things, win some scrambles. I don't know if Liudvik's going to engage in the wrestling. I think he's smarter than that. Keep it on the feet, test the kid's chin, and kind of ride it out like that. So, I mean, Johnny Munoz Jr., it's kind of a Hail Mary or minus 230 or whatever he is for a Hail Mary submission is like...
It's crazy.
I mean, God bless you for it.
No, it's absolutely crazy. I completely agree with you. Like I said, I think he wins, but this is closer to a pick'em than anything. And I'm just the more active guy who has more ways to win. Liudvik wins one way, gets a takedown, rides you out. He's like skin. Johnny can knock you out. He does have power in his hands. He can catch you on the ground. But yes, he's not a methodical guy that's gonna bang, bang, bang.
I think Liudvik wins the standing. I mean, I think he wins the standing. I don't think he needs the takedowns to win this fight.
I mean, he may be the more technical striker, but I mean, Johnny throws hard.
I hope he does, because he's gonna fucking catch one again.
A woman scorned, an absolute woman scorned right now. Anyway, I'm not touching this Monkey Knife Fight strike line because I don't know how this is gonna go. So we're gonna go ahead and leave that strike line alone. What we might want to do is check out some takedown props when those drop from Bet Online. That's usually the normal props drop on Tuesdays. It's like Wednesday, Thursday, they start dropping those takedown props. We'll see what those look like, but even then, this fight is just too many questions. You think there's any action to put here, or probably not?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think there's no reason to force anything. So, especially with the way judges have been lately, what an absolute
I mean, honestly,
scam.
this might be does not go the distance at plus 155. I don't know if you were talking bets or not, but it feels like Johnny either finds a submission or gets knocked out, in my mind. I mean, I know I'm a little bit biased in it, but 150 plus 155 seems like a unit flyer opportunity.
Yeah, that's potential, or even Liudvik as the underdog inside the distance, decision, no action. But the problem is Johnny can catch. The only way Johnny could win is if he catches him inside. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to touch it. There's no reason to put money on every single one of these fights.